This week on the Crude Effect podcast, Alana and I will discuss famed comedian director Jordan Peele's new film entitled Us and Black Hollywood. How do we as African Americans approach and navigate these recent, somewhat lucrative opportunities?
So, this is Jordan Peele movie.
Yes.
Us.
Yes.
I saw the previews for it. Just opened up this past weekend.
Yeah.
70 million right off the top.
Clap it up.
Brother, I mean, he's a very talented guy. I've heard him in interviews many a times. I love this guy.
Oh my gosh.
Because of his just broad approach, not only to film, but to life.
Yeah. His vision, really.
Yeah, his vision for filmmaking.
And I never would have thought that watching Key and Peele, I never would have thought that I don't want to say that thought-provoking, but like, was this talented? Like,
no, I knew
didn't
they
know.
were talented.
No, I knew they were talented, but like him in particular, like
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like going into this, venue. I mean, this is awesome, man.
Well, when I first started watching the show
me,
I write and
Right.
things like that. So I automatically, it's just a natural for me to go look at the credits, who's producing, directing, and I saw his name in there a plethora of times.
Okay.
And as
that gave you a clue.
Years going on, I saw his name even more in the credits. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay, he's a big, huge part of this. The other guy, I don't know, I forgot his name. He's the more funny guy. I thought he was gonna take off because when they first came out, he was the more, just over
vibrant,
the top.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could see him.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Pharrell and Star Trek, where his boy, the Asian guy, he's more in the cut.
Exactly.
And they kind of remind me of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the previews, it taps into some African American demons that we've been experiencing. Anger
A lot of
issues,
anger
just self.
Yeah.
Issues
Yeah.
that we have from being in this country.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the previews look good. I heard mixed reviews on it.
Yeah, well, you got to, like I said, you got to take a look at it for yourself, because I heard some of the mixed reviews early with Get Out.
Yeah.
And Get Out was outstanding, and same thing, taking a look at yourself, taking a look at how you're looked at as a African American in this country. Not only just that, but also in Get Out, it had a little piece where was an Asian cat kind of had to look at himself too.
Yeah, that was real.
And he kind of joined in with
Exactly.
the white people. So it is like I said, it's good to see. I'm just really impressed, and also he's not getting enough credit because I was telling Shobi, he's also on CBS streaming. Mr. Peele is redoing The Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you like any of his work as far as Get Out or Us, I recommend just go on the CBS streaming, the app. It's a 7-day free trial, and just check it out. I mean, the Twilight Zone episode is just, he's got a couple of them. They're just outstanding. I mean, it's really in the ilk of Twilight Zone with Rod Serling, thought-provoking, and suspenseful. Not that horror, that gore, but that's that suspense horror.
Gotcha.
And he's so he's really on top of his, that is telling you so much about how Hollywood is seeing us. For them to recast him as Rod Serling,
mm-hmm.
I don't think people really understand how big that is, because that show was it's iconic.
Yes.
It's almost as if he were to redo Alfred Hitchcock. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it would be that iconic. And he's literally bordering on what Alfred Hitchcock was bringing to the table.
Exactly. When you look at his movies, to Get Out,
It's
and this
very
Us,
Alfred
it's
Hitchcock.
close.
Yes,
it's
it's
Twilight
right
Zone-ish.
there. Yeah.
And this is why
Outer Limits, all of that.
it was
yeah.
easy for him to make this transition into that, because let's think about it. Who's out there that's close to doing what he's doing?
Not
him
like
and Alfred.
this.
No one.
Not like this.
So
no.
they're looking at it as, man, this guy is the newer version of it.
Maybe your boy Stephen King. That's about it.
Yeah, but he's in a different element.
Right, I'm just right. But as far
that
as
Alfred Hitchcock feel, as far as
that's
TV and shows, and
I haven't. I'm gonna tell you this honestly, and we grew up on it. I haven't seen anything like this since honestly Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that was great.
Tales from the Dark. Oh, that was outstanding.
That was great. That was so insightful.
Well, and Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah,
and Tales from the Crypt.
That was good too. Yep.
So.
I think that's where his aim. I think that's where he's going. He's trying to recreate that,
genre.
and he spoke upon that.
Did he?
How that was a huge part of
Good for
his.
him.
No, I'm talking about his growing up, his career. Because
Yeah.
I think he's around our age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, we grew up. Like I said, I used to watch, and it was spooky. Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt, Outer Limits. That stuff. It was a spooky in the sense of like you had to think.
Exactly.
And so
it was very thought-provoking.
that's true horror, suspense, all this gore and all that that we
Right.
grew up
Scary,
with Freddy
all
and
the
all
time.
that. Yeah, and always
yeah.
blood. The horror had just started going into such a dysfunctional way where it was just more satanic.
Well, I think where it changed to that and veered off into that area you're talking about, superficial area you're talking about, is with the Jasons and all that.
Freddie
just
and
scaring and
it
killing
was, and
people,
look, and don't get me wrong, the first Friday the 13th, like from 1 through 3, the first few Halloweens, they were all right. But then it just took that turn into just something just awful.
But let me ask you this.
Hellraiser.
But where was the thought provoking in that? It was gone.
The early ones were because remember it was like they were at the camp and it had a
But
storyline. It had a storyline.
It's not.
No, it's not. No,
that's
not,
what I
right.
mean.
Yeah, no,
that's
no,
where
no.
it veered off
I
into
agree.
just I'm scaring you.
That's exactly. No, it's real.
I'm
really impressed at where we're going. Obviously Black Panther. Yep. They're going to get I think they're already in the books as doing a Black Panther 2. Just veering it into kind of the entrepreneur thing. Just they're talking about redoing In Living Color. I think they're talking about either doing a movie about it or something. So we're really starting to see us having an opportunity to represent ourselves. The question that I wanted to ask you veering into it was, what do we do with it? Now that we have an opportunity for representation, to show ourselves, to show stories about ourselves. And you talked about this for years. And Shobi has said this for years about how we in our genre in entertainment and in media have got to start representing ourselves more than just the slave stories. Yep. And he's been saying this for years. And in particular, when 12 Years of a Slave won an award.
That was the one we talked about.
And we were talking about it, won awards, and it was kind of a different way they told it from a slave's point of view, but still. And Shobi was very adamant, like, okay, yeah, that's great, but where are other stories? Like, we have other stories to tell besides a slave, besides a crook. And we've heard this before, and it was true. And now it's starting to come out more and more that now they're giving us this opportunity to tell our stories. But the question that I ask is, what do we do with it? Because, we've seen this where James Brown had a radio station, radio stations buying radio station. Ray Charles had bought his originals, so that way nobody could, make money off them. We've had opportunities
and
to
examples,
prime
examples,
and BET,
yes,
was our own network, and then he sold it off to the white execs.
Don Cornelius. And
so what do we do now that we have this opportunity? Oprah has her network. What do we do now? Do we squander it, or do we hone in and come together and make sure that we continue to have a platform, i.e. like Telemundo, i.e. like some of these other stations? Do we have a platform? Do we bounce that platform into also making sure that, we have an African channel? Because there's an African channel, but do we network with our African brothers and sisters, or do we just isolate ourselves as just African Americans?
To me, what we have to do is, it's a time of just humbling ourselves, understanding where we are, and building relationships. Not just it starts with us first, building relationships with each other, because we need to learn how to work together, just survive together in a serene atmosphere.
Trust one another.
Yeah, all that involved in a serene atmosphere, in a serene way. That's the key to everything, bro. It starts with us. Then we can venture out with our brothers and sisters for Africa, and even our white brothers and sisters who we are trying to develop a relationship of somewhat trust. Like I say, the reason us African Americans and white Americans really can't see eye to eye on a lot of things is there's no trust there.
Right. So my question is that, because you say that, okay, so we're obviously going to have to trust our European partners here first, because they're here with us more so.
I think it starts with trusting
ourselves.
Other. Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not seeing enough networking between us. I see a lot of individualism.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I see LeBron here, Jordan Peele over here, Oprah over here.
Right.
And maybe occasionally they're coming together on certain projects, but I don't see them all coming together in a certain way, making sure that we have a media platform.
Well,
us.
Well, that's where it starts. Everyone's doing their own thing. LeBron, Oprah, Tyler Perry,
right.
Oprah, what I'm saying? They have a little clique.
Right.
Steve Harvey, they have a little clique.
Okay.
Where they all, they're friends and they do things together and they pass on work and pass on opportunities between each other. But it's time to branch out also. But that comes with trust too, because we have to think about it. How did Oprah, Steve Harvey, all of them get to this place? It took a lot of trust and it took a lot of work. Yes, and they want to make sure that the people they bring into those circles that understand how this thing works. You know what I'm saying? That, it's not about you. It's a certain way you have to move. And I'm not saying, kiss butt or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain way where sometimes you have to be quiet, a la Monique, the comedian.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to be quiet.
Pick our moments.
Allow that man upstairs to move certain things.
Okay, so let me answer this. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point, because the Monique thing is unique in the sense that she also was feeling like she was sold out. So how do you? Because my greatest concern is I saw what happened with BET,
right?
And I don't want our story to be told by others.
I agree. I'm
very,
a firm believer in that also.
I don't mind others making money with us,
right?
But not off of us,
right?
You see what I'm saying? And that's where my concern is.
Right.
Is we've every time given up our stuff and haven't claimed it properly, haven't licensed it properly, haven't trademarked it properly, whatever it is. And, I don't care what it is, whether it's rock and roll, whether it's, jazz, whether it's whatever, we haven't made sure that we've kept it ours.
I agree.
Or at least made sure that people understand that this is our influence.
Yeah, we're so quick to sell it off to make that money.
That quick money.
And let's keep it real and 100, those higher entities that put that pressure on us, a la Dave Chappelle. When he went through that thing with Africa, he talked about that extensively on Oprah, how he was pressured by those higher ups, and they put him in this box and tried to make him sound he was crazy because he wanted to pretty much, have his own say and
control.
That creative control. And they demonized him because that black man wanted to have creative control over his work.
Product. Yeah. Yep. I'm tired of us just, allowing ourselves to be taken.
Yep.
I that's what I'm saying. I want that shit. And right or wrong, and he's in jail. That's what Cosby was talking about.
Yep.
And you see what they did to him when he tried to buy his TV station.
Yep.
So this is the concern. And I promise you, if he got a TV station, I guarantee you it would have been nourishment for our community.
Yep.
Because that's Dr. Cosby.
This is why they did not allow him to purchase that.
Right, CBS. And so that's been, like I said, and not only just that, but just we can separate the man from the artist. You look at his work, and we can go from the Sidney Poitier movies on up to his last Cosby show. And I'm not talking about the one that was on NBC. He had one on CBS that was at the end of his career.
Right.
And I can guarantee you almost every one of them, outside of maybe I Spy, had some educational content to it. And I can't even say I Spy because I Spy did have some educational content to it because he was a black man, one of the first black spies, on TV. So there was content in everything he did.
Yep.
Little Bill, the cartoon,
Yep.
wanted to make sure that our children saw a cartoon of a person of color, a black boy.
Yep.
This is normal.
Yep.
And so everything he's done, the content, everything he's done, Different World, Cosby Show, where he was wearing the HBCs on his chest, making sure the representation.
Exactly.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I allowed Don Cornelius. I was watching the show yesterday, American Soul.
Great.
It's really good.
Great.
And he was adamant. Same thing. Bill Cosby and him had that same spirit, LeBron James and his guys.
Right.
Young entrepreneurs. I love them
and
to
they're
death.
coming up. They're coming up strong.
Heady guys, smart guys, very strong brothers. Me and you talked about this, how they're carving out an area in sports, entertainment, and the powers to be are afraid a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of their influence, LeBron James' influence. He's even doing movies now. This is that. He's really under a lot of pressure right now.
Yeah, that's why this basketball thing is kind of secondary. I'm just keeping it 100.
It could be. You know
I'm
what I'm saying?
telling you it is.
It could be if he was. I think if he had a team, I don't want to get too far.
Look, we're not trying to get into that. I'm just saying, but and we talked about this. I truly believe a main reason why he went out there was for this company. Yeah, the Lakers are fine and all that, but I'm just saying, and so you can't.
We know that
when you make moves business wise, you're doing it for one or two reasons. Either it's because you love it, which is basketball. Not saying that he doesn't love it. Or you're doing it because it's going to make you more profitable.
Right.
It's kind of hard to have them both. The one thing with Jordan is, and people really don't understand, that brand almost built itself.
Yeah.
He was allowed to just go play. Yep. Even when he went to Washington, he wasn't thinking about the brand like that.
Yep.
The brand was just growing.
It came to him.
It's just the brand. LeBron is the brand.
Right.
Not a shoe.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so that's where the difference is when, you see it. And so that's why I'm saying, like, you talking about the pressure he's under. Yeah. Because he sees down the road. He doesn't want to be one of those, and it's funny because we talk about it, he'll be like 35, 36, but retired millionaire and be like, I don't know what I want to do. Or like, I'm going to go play golf and do some of this. No,
he
this
knows
man,
exactly what he wants
this
to do.
man has a plan.
Yeah, we're forefronting a lot of things right now. Things are opening up. God's grace is shining upon us right now. Once again, what are we going to do with it this time? Are we going to make the right moves?
Yeah.
Not, so-called
Join
sell out.
together, trust one another.
Come together.
Yeah.
As African Americans and do this in a proper manner,
Yeah.
like we're supposed to, like other races do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not putting it all on us. It's a lot of entities that's tried to tear us apart.
Oh yeah,
To
and
keep
we'll
us
continue
apart,
to. We'll
right? You
continue to.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are we going to stand in that hell fire together and come out?
I agree. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Together.
I
instead of just leaving our brother up in there and I'm climbing out.
I completely
that's
agree.
where
and I'm gonna tell you this too, as you're talking about it, we were talking about us and all that. You remember the Crazy Rich Asians, right? That movie.
Yeah.
And I peeped how the forces to be were kind of trying to play that that movie against us, versus Black Panther, and they were trying to like pit us against one another. We have to be very careful of those traps.
Yes, we do.
Because we have to understand, like, there's so much more opportunity to make and create money with, a Telemundo, with, our Asian brothers and sisters than to be fighting.
Exactly.
Neither group has been represented properly. Our Asian women have been, always got to perm their hair. They can't ever wear their hair natural. Our sisters got to do the same thing. Asians, what I'm saying, they're getting represented by white folks in a bunch of movies just like us.
Exactly.
So it's not like it's across the board that we're not fighting the same battle.
I agree.
So we have to make sure that we also are inclusive.
But even
That's
still,
where we went wrong.
Even still, other races, Asians and stuff, they're fighting a similar battle. But even then, they look down on us.
That's what I'm saying.
And
We have to make sure that we don't we don't allow those outside forces to kind of diminish us.
I'm glad you brought this up. Even in our neighborhoods, where Middle Easterns come in and grab the stores and they set up shop and take all our money. Me and my wife were talking about this.
And don't invest in the community.
Me and my wife were talking about this.
Yeah.
Even, I'm not a fan of weaves and nothing like that, but that weave thing is a $1 billion business.
Yeah.
Who controls it? Middle Easterns and Asians.
And Asians, yeah. Why not us?
Why aren't we controlling that?
Because we're giving it away. And like I said, I'm starting to see more
we're just
and more.
being lazy.
Well, we have been lazy. And I'll take that back. We've been lazy part of it, but also we haven't had the investments like we had the opportunities
and
now.
open doors. That's part of it too. To get those high clients like that, the Asians and the Middle
just to
Easterns
have access to get that hair, from different areas where it's maybe cheaper, where you can buy it in bulk and all that. So, and once again, we haven't been taught business.
Yep.
We're just getting our feet grounded. Mind you, now it was only in the 70s when we were fighting to have non-segregated schools.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're just catching up now. So part of it was laziness, but now I'm seeing like, and by the way, buyblack.com or we buy black. I advise everybody to go onto that if you really want to support the community.
WeBuyBlack.com.
We've got black toothpaste, black detergents, black what you said, weave. These two sisters, after it was a YouTube video or whatever, where the Asian person was cursing them out or whatever. Literally, maybe a day or two later, two sisters was like, "Hey, we've been producing our own weave. Hey, come holler at us." And we're here.
Right.
But now we have to start taking advantage of it more and more and more. Same thing, not to get off before we get off, but same thing with policing.
Right.
We always complain about these, European officers in our neighborhood. Then we need to go to our aldermen, go to our people, and say, "Hey, we want to be policed by our own."
Let me ask you this: what do you feel about how do you see this? I'm gonna go back to the neighborhoods, the rural or urban neighborhoods that we African Americans dwell in, and we see, nothing against them, Asians and Middle Easterns, setting up shop and making money off our neighborhoods, and we've seen many times, not all, but some Asians, Middle Easterns frown and just really, they'll frown and just take your money and just give you these mean looks when you walk in. Now, these are stores that are in
our community,
predominantly black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And they have these frowns and, just give me your money and just get the heck on.
Right.
It's time for us to be like, okay, you made enough money here. It's time for us to set up shop.
Yeah.
And run our own.
I agree.
And it's okay. I mean,
it's okay for them to be there. It's just a matter of one, and this is on us. Now, this part what you're talking about is on us because
it's okay for a few of them to be there.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to be there, then you should provide quality service, quality product. It's okay. I don't care what race you are if you're providing a quality
What I'm
product.
saying is the ones I'm talking about.
I know what you're
that
talking about.
should not be holding the store when you have that mental.
But that's also on us because why are we going into that store?
Because that's all we can do.
No, there's other stores.
No, in the hood.
Yeah, there's always another store.
Who's going to be?
Always another store.
Who's going to travel outside of where they're from?
No. I'm talking about in the neighborhood. There's always a different store.
Yeah.
Now, you may not be the store that's closest to your house,
but I'm just saying we should be controlling that.
Okay, I agree, but also
because you know what?
I'm tired of us.
Listen, there's a section in Chicago where Asians control all their stuff.
I agree.
Middle Easterns control. Up north, Macho's Dairy, they control their stuff.
We had that.
I want to hear had.
Yeah,
it needs to start.
But once again, that's on us. That's I'm talking about Madison Street.
Now.
I'm talking about from Madison Street from Pulaski on up to around Costner. That was all. But that was all us at one point.
Asians, those China,
that was all us.
Jewtowns.
That was all us. But that was all us.
Was
over there on Halstead. You remember over there on 63rd and Halstead, right over there by Kennedy King, that row of stores. That was all us. That was all us. We've given it away. We've sold it away. We don't want to do it anymore. The older heads are tired, and the younger kids were like, not willing to take over the business. So they're like, we're selling it, and they knew what they were doing when they were buying it up. The Middle Easterns and all that when they were buying it up. The old Jewtown got bought up by UIC,
right?
So that got swallowed up. But yeah, I get your point. And like I said, I'm not gonna fault the Middle Eastern brothers or the Asian brothers because they see an opportunity of profit. What I'm gonna say is that
it's not about that.
Right?
It needs
to be on us to
take over.
But how many of us do you see wanting to open stores? Like, I'm not seeing a lot of us wanting to open stores.
I know it's a lot of us that do want to open stores. You know what I'm saying? I've met a number of people that want to, but it's the loan. They don't trust us to get the loans. No. You know what I'm saying? When you come over, immigrants come over, they get that. You know what I'm saying? It's a grace period for them to get a loan to start a business.
Plus they have more collateral because they got whatever they got coming from home.
Some of them don't have anything, bro.
Well, then I don't know why
they don't
we
have
can't
anything.
Get it. I don't know why
political. A lot of it's political, bro.
And you might be right. And that's how we haven't had housing and all that. So I agree.
And hopefully,
so how do we change that?
African American mayors.
But this is a nationwide issue.
No, I'm talking about specifically.
Oh, here. Yeah, okay.
Specifically here. I can't speak.
Well, you know what? When
here.
Harold was here, we had it good. Exactly. We haven't had a black mayor since.
Well, I'm just saying, Miss Lightfoot, Miss Preckwinkle, whoever becomes mayor, that should be on the agenda for some of our aldermen in those neighborhoods. Well,
I think it should be in.
And I think they're part of the problem too. Some of those aldermen.
Oh God, yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're comfortable with that check and they don't care. That's why the term limit thing is important.
Yeah, it's huge because it's going to keep fresh ideas going
and keep
fresh
your back
perspective.
stiff.
Yeah, and
if you want to keep your job,
because these young people, they want to work.
Yeah,
I promise you, they want to work, but they don't want to work somewhere where it's dingy, grimy, where they don't see any opportunity for growth.
Right?
Who wants to go into anything like that?
And I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of us African Americans, young African Americans, even just us, it's crazy. It's a job, but we look down on the McDonald's jobs and stuff like that.
We sure do.
And we get a lot of flack for it. The negative side is they don't see any growth.
Right.
And the positive side is, it's a first job. It's a revolving door type job.
Right.
But I do understand.
Oh, I get it completely.
How they,
come on, man.
Right.
Like, look, I get it when it's your first job. When you're 16, 15, 16, I get it. But when you're talking to a 21, 22-year-old, and you got to sometimes humble yourself. But that is a hard humble.
Yeah. I don't knock any job. Money is money. And but McDonald's should be a revolving door job.
Right.
For some, it's not.
Right, I agree.
Unless you're a manager making that 60, 70,000 a year, whatever. Right. But other than that, workers, that should be a revolving door, young people.
No, I agree.
That will conclude our show for this week. I would like to thank you all for listening. Once again, you can find me, Shobi.T, on Facebook at Shobi.T, Twitter at C.T, Instagram at C.T3130.
And you can find me on Facebook at Ali, Instagram Ali for Life, and Twitter Ali211996. Hit us up.
Till next time.